For the session, we have with us Professor Y.S. Siddegowda, Vice Chancellor, Tumkur University, Professor Limbadri, Chairman, Telangana State Council of Higher Education, Professor Gopala Krishna Joshi, Executive Director, Karnataka State Higher Education Council, Professor Krishnan, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Tamil Nadu, Professor Sabu Thomas, Vice Chancellor, Mahatma Gandhi University. I now request Professor Siddegowda, Professor Krishnan Sir, Professor M.R. Biju, Dean School of Legal Studies, Professor K.R. Tangappan, Dean School of Medicine and Public Health, to come on to the dais and to take their respective seats. On to the session, Institutional Restructuring. I would like to welcome Professor Biju, Dean School of Legal Studies, to deliver the welcome address.
Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala, Professor H. Venkateswarlu, distinguished resource persons of this session, Vice Chancellors from various universities, Registrar of CUK, Deans, HODs, faculty members, students, and media persons. Good afternoon to all. We are entering into the fourth session of the two-day roundtable conference on the implementation of NEP. The present session is titled Institutional Restructuring. In this session, we have with us 6 eminent and senior-most academics to enlighten us on various aspects, issues, and challenges connected with the theme. They are Professor Y.S. Siddegowda, Vice Chancellor, Tumkur University, Karnataka, Professor R. Limbadri, Chairman, Telangana State Higher Education Council, Professor Gopala Krishna Joshi, Executive Director, Karnataka State Higher Education Council, Professor M. Krishnan, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Tamil Nadu, Professor Sabu Thomas, Vice Chancellor, MG University, Kottayam, and Professor Harilal, Vice Chancellor, Goa University. Out of it, Professor Limbadri, Professor Joshi, Professor Harilal, and Professor Sabu Thomas will be joining with us by online. On behalf of the university and organizing committee, I extend you all a warm welcome. I also extend a warm welcome to Professor K.R. Tangappan, Dean, School of Public Health and Medicine of CUK, who is proposing the vote of thanks. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Colonel Professor Y.S. Siddegowda is an academician with an in-depth knowledge and profound skill sets in teaching pedagogy, research, education, and administration. Now, I would like to welcome Professor Y.S. Siddegowda, Vice Chancellor, Tumkur University, for the opening remarks.
Good afternoon, friends. It is indeed a great pleasure to be here. Only the fear is that a hungry man is a hungry man. One thing. And another one is after the taking that heavy lunch, holding them back is another challenging task. Hope that Kerala is known for serious academic activities, even that the hungry stomach or heavy stomach won't come in the way. At the outset, I thank Honorable Vice Chancellor, who is a dynamic leader, for evincing interest in holding the two-day deliberations on the implementation of national education policy for the first time from Central University side in the country, if I correct. Otherwise, it is Karnataka which is the first state to implement the national education policy, and I was one of the lead member in implementing the same in all the state and autonomous universities and colleges, apart from being the chairperson of the curriculum development for 14 courses. Since from last 2 days, we have been discussing, deliberating, and exchanging lot many things. But my apprehension is how far that we have created the ambience in the place where the real that the act takes place. You can take the horse to the water, but you can't make the horse to drink the water. Here, that 484 new education policy draft that you have seen, most of you, and the national education policy 63 pages act and bill also you have seen, discussed. I don't think that any public policy left with the public stakeholders for more than 1.5 years for public debate, inviting comments to the tune of 33,634, out of which 3,500 and add that constructive, that suggestions were taken and included in the bill. So it is known to every one of us, 21st century is a knowledge century. Without any material, raw material, without anything, just by exchanging, using our knowledge, skill, new skills, and along with that the human values, that we can solve all the problems of the present and also anticipating the future problems by way of our social work teachers knows that touching that all the four functions, curative, preventive, rehabilitative, and developmental, that is what that the national education policy demand for a vibrant personality to cater to the needs of the global standard. Friends, my question here, just points, otherwise that I have this thing, only I said 4 5 this thing. So as you know that we have that NRF, National Research Foundation. How far this National Research Foundation is going to be legislated as a key central funding agency to cater to the needs of all the research activities of Higher Education Council of India, NHERC, NAC, HEGC, and GEC, and all. All these, as you all know, so far, that India could able to reserve only 0.8% of the GDP. Not even half of that Kenya GDP to the tune of 3%. Now that national education policy is demanding for 6% of GDP to maintain the quality of higher education as well as the lower education, primary education, and also do justice to access, equity, quality, accountability, and what other one? Access. 5 pillars are very important. So how far this research that initiatives are going to be implemented in the respective universities matters. Coming to that research intensive universities, as is envisaged in the national education policy, three types of that the universities. One is that research intensive universities, and then teaching intensive universities, and degree granting autonomous colleges. So how good they are converting teacher centric to learning centric, advanced learners and slow learners, and integrating STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, how good they are in doing it. And then the infrastructure implementation, the physical infrastructure, digital infrastructure, innovative academic that infrastructure, teaching, learning, and evaluations. And then emotional infrastructure, another important area. And then intellectual property infrastructure, networking, university, industry, alumni interfaces. And again, another that haunting that the area is the increase of gross enrollment ratio. How good we are taking from 26.8 to that 34 in 2030, which is aligned with that sustainable development goal, and 2040 53% GER, how to increase what is the role of institutions. And then institutional implementation strategies, lobby free, corruption free. And then Higher Education Council of India's job is creating four vertical for that the regulations, accreditations, funding, then academic standard, and appointment of qualified vice chancellors. And then the academic implementation, if you comes, that upgrading curricula, you all know that is the stipulation of UGC and other this thing. Developing new and effective pedagogy, and then multidisciplinary subject, again the STEMs, and then experiential learning skills for that employability, the skilling for employability, and then institutional core values, how to inculcate it, and then innovation and the best practices and quality education, and at the same time low cost to cover the low economic income strata also. Strategic that collaboration, competitive strategies, performance based annual increments and promotions, accountability policy, top to bottom this thing, and then that the industry network, evaluation of programs is a must, process evaluation as well as the end evaluation to make that the national education policy more effective. Coming to the technology implementation, again that the indigenous technology for online teaching, one country, one online platform, you know that how that the union government has introduced in the area of that economic reform, that without any that currency, that how that the digital that transformation has taken place, and that training faculty to use artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, and then virtual realities, and that the augmented reality technologies that in teaching learning by preparing them using that the Swayam, MOOCs, and all other experiments that friends were mentioning morning. I have no time to cite their examples. And then ICT for 21st century. You know that Karnataka government in higher education domain, we have developed 84 where there is no that physical transaction right from that admission down to that the result certificate issue, and the general research facilities and the technology that inclusion. It may be agriculture, it may be water, it may be energy, it may be space, it may be biotechnology, it may be nanotechnology, it may be that genetic technology and the like. Coming to the other area, strategies for online and digital education, sharing infrastructure, teaching, learning, and other things, and also artificial intelligence, virtual realities, developing institutional digital library with global networking to access any information ubiquitously is very important. With this, that my fellow that panelists are going to throw light as how that each that aspect can be covered at that institutional level to implement that the national education policy in a effective manner. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We humbly request all the delegates to stick on to the timing given to them. Kindly stick on to 8 minutes and extend your fullest cooperation. Next, we have with us Professor Limbadri, Chairman, Telangana State Council of Higher Education. Sir will be joining us online. Okay. May I now invite Professor Gopalakrishna Joshi, Executive Director, Karnataka State Higher Education Council, to join us.
Good afternoon, co-panelists and distinguished academics. The theme for this session is institutional restructuring. I would like to refer to some data by Aishe, which rather helped me understand the recommendations of NEP well. So, in the context of this data, I will visit what does NEP talk with respect to institutional restructuring. This data that I am referring to is ISHE 2019-20 national level data. The college density, which is essentially the number of colleges per lakh eligible population, that is population in the age group of 18 to 23, varies from 7 in Bihar to 59 in Karnataka as compared to the all India average of 30. There are 61% colleges located in rural areas, and 10% colleges only are meant for females, exclusively females. Only 2.7% colleges run PhD program, and 35% of the colleges run postgraduate level programs. There are 32.6 colleges which run only single program, out of which 84.1 are privately managed. And out of this, 37.4% colleges are running only B.Ed courses. 78.6 colleges are privately managed. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana have about 80% private unaided colleges, and Uttar Pradesh has 78.5% private unaided colleges, whereas Chandigarh has only 8%. 16.6% of the colleges have enrollment of less than 100 sirs, and only 4% colleges have more than 3,000 student population. Maximum number of students are enrolled in BA program, followed by BSc and BCom programs. 10 programs out of approximately 196 programs cover 79% of the total student population in higher education. And 32.7% of the students are enrolled in arts, humanities, and social science courses, followed by science 60%, commerce 15%, and engineering about 13%. So this data of ISHE, it it helps us understand why is NEP talking about institutional restructuring, and then what does it mean by that. So this data helps us see institutional restructuring and consolidation is referred to in NEP document, NEP 2020 document in section 10. The main thrust of the policy regarding higher education is to end the fragmentation of higher education by transforming higher education institutions into large multidisciplinary universities and HEI clusters, each of which will aim to have 3,000 or more students. Moving to large multidisciplinary universities and HEI clusters is the highest recommendation of the policy regarding the structure of higher education. And then it also talks about the very definition of university and college. First time there is an emphatic definition given. It says a university will mean a multidisciplinary institution of higher learning that offers undergraduate and graduate programs with high quality teaching, research, and community engagement. Of course, you have got correspondingly, two types of universities. Then an autonomous degree granting college will refer to a large multidisciplinary institution of higher learning that grants undergraduate degrees and is primarily focused on undergraduate teaching. So this is something which we need to understand. This is our goal state. Then by 2040, all higher education institutions shall aim to become multidisciplinary institutions and shall aim to have larger student enrollments, preferably in the thousands, for optimal use of infrastructure and resources and for the creation of vibrant multidisciplinary communities. Since this process will take time, all HEIs will first plan to become multidisciplinary by 2030 and then increase the student strength to desired level. This is what the document says. It also says single stream HEIs will be phased out over time and will move towards becoming vibrant multidisciplinary institutions or part of vibrant multidisciplinary HEI clusters. And gradual phasing out of the system of affiliated colleges over a period of 15 years. It is an audacious goal, but yes, it is boldly stated in this document. Dear colleagues, when we started looking at data in our state of Karnataka, public to private share is in the range of 30 to 70%. It is in the ratio of 30 to 70%. GER varies across districts in the state from as low as 10% in some district to exceeding 50% in some of the districts. This 50% I took because that is our goal state as per NEP. State, national average is concerned. There are considerable number of monodisciplinary institutions. There are large number of institutions with just around 100 students. Number of institutions with more than 3,000 student population is very less. There is a disparity between discipline or program-wise capacity and enrollment across the state. It is true mostly in public institutions. So when I look at this, our thinking has been, in fact, I cannot say our thinking, it is my, when we have a small team, when we were talking about these things, region-wise solutions have to be thought of, not at state as a whole, as one size doesn't fit all. And when we looked at data, we realized that strengthening existing institutions, making them multidisciplinary and increasing their capacity seems to be the best first step here. And then encouraging new institutions may be focused to only districts with low GERs. We need to explore the idea of college complexes. However, you have public funded institutions and privately funded institutions. How do we manage this? Is a point of concern. So this is what are my initial comments with respect to institutional restructuring. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Hello.
Next we
Yeah, this is Professor Kori, Central University of Andhra Pradesh Vice Chancellor. Hello. Central University of Kerala, could you hear me?
Yes, sir. Sir, you are audible. Sir,
Yeah.
we are going on with the previous session. You are in the next session on digitalization of the higher education.
Okay, what time it would be?
Sir, in another 20 minutes, we'll be moving on to the next session.
Ah,
Yeah, sir. We are in the session 3, institutional restructuring.
okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Gopal Krishna Joshi, yes. Good day, good afternoon.
Namaskara.
Namaskar, namaskar. Yeah.
Sir, session is on, sir.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have with us Professor Krishnan, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Tamil Nadu, to deliver his opinion on institutional restructuring.
My dear and respected Vice Chancellor of this great university, Central University of Kerala, and today, Professor Siddha Gowda has given a lot of information about that institutional restructuring with a lot of data. Of course, he's prepared a lot of information, but he didn't have the time to present everything. And also, Professor Gopalakrishnan Joshi is given that higher education in Karnataka. I'm going to give the short note, important thing to restructure the university to implement and get the benefit out of national education policy. Before that, my dear students, we have to take the example of the great Nobel Prize winner, Sir C.V. Raman. You all know that he spent only 200 rupees to have the Nobel Prize. 200 rupees. And his first paper published in the 14 years of his age. So when you have a good environment, if you have a good ambience, it's easy to implement the NEP. I don't want to go for the detail or data, but I want to give 4 sutras where we are looking for to implement the NEP and get that benefit out of it. Number 1, we have to have the free hands in collaborating and cooperating. What I mean, the University of Kerala, for example, having lot of facilities where they have to ready to collaborate with our Central University of Tamil Nadu. They have to exchange the facilities. They have to exchange the knowledge. Then only we can get the benefit out of it. But we have to think about it. We have a smooth platform to go for the collaboration or cooperation. That is the first one we have to develop. There is a network among all the universities because all my students feel that. For example, you have genomics students of Central University of Kerala. They need all the facilities in the university. It's not possible at all. Restructuring, it's not possible at all. It's very difficult to the grant. But what we can do that, if it is available in other universities, like our Professor Vice Chancellor is there, Central University of Hyderabad. So we have to have that network. For that, both the institutes should be ready. Otherwise, how we can implement the NEP? Number 1, that restructuring should be important. Number 1. Number 2, coming out from the boundary. Yes, I think all my Vice Chancellor will accept it. Even it's very difficult to bring out
the students from one department to another department in the same university. Then how we are going to come out from the boundary? So the come out from the boundary, what we have to do that? The restructuring. Yes, the curriculum pedagogy should say that they have to have at least 20% of the coursework from the different departments. As my Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala rightly told them, why not? Economics can study some finance. Why not? Statistics go to the every department. So for that, the teaching community should accept it because the workload, we can say. How I am going to say that? That is, I am talking about inside the university. But how you are making true when you are going to come out from the boundary from University of Kerala to Tamil Nadu or Karnataka, how they are going to come? How we are, successful in this aspect? Please listen very carefully and do the rework very carefully. Because every year, I think all my Vice Chancellors accepted, we are going for the tripod, collaboration. But whatever we are proposing, it's very difficult to reach that. I'm sorry to say that in some of the department, if I have a high sophisticated instrument, they feel that it's my property. I will not allow that students to work on that. So that magnanimous should come. Magnanimous should come. Anytime, any facilities, they have to come, they have to accommodate. Even 1 to 2, we have a meeting with the UGC. What they are telling that all the universities should give the skill to the students of higher secondary, those who are not continuing their studies. Start with a foreign language. Start with any important skill like psychology and so on and so forth, like certificate, diploma. They're ready to give the money. That's a message what I got it 1 to 2 from the UGC. That also I got to start before March 15th. So the restructuring is going on. It will be successful when you are coming out from the boundary, out of box. What my professor colleague told that from the Hyderabad. Yes. So we have to make the platform how we are going to sensitize to not only students, for my teachers. That is a very, very important thing. Third one is sustainability. Right? My dear students, first should understand that. I told that the collaborative and cooperative. Then I told that it's coming out from the boundary. Number third, sustainability. I can give one example. Because 2 years we were in COVID. Yes. But the HIV is thriving in the country for the last 50 years. But there is no vaccine. Please listen very carefully. But when the COVID is coming, within the 2 years, my genomics people will accept it. 86 species of the co-virus is sequenced and they developed the vaccine. How it's possible? Since it's going and affecting your own people, your own relatives, your own people living in the village, then we got the pressure. Immediately what happened? The basic science people coming together, chemistry is coming, genomics is coming, pharmaceutical is coming, industry is coming, Bharat industry is coming, everybody is coming together. Within the year, you have the vaccine. Sustainability, when it starts with that 875 rupees per vaccine earlier, now it's free of cost. It's possible. It's possible. Now we are bold enough to say that Okay, anything, any disease, we will challenge it and we can cure it. It's because of that collaboration and cooperation. And coming out from the boundary, the people to ready to give that, what you call. I mean, one day, people told, there is a conference on artificial intelligence in Central University of Tamil Nadu. They called that what you called the expert from UK, USA, where they are giving the special lecture. They asked the one question, okay, you are going to talk about artificial intelligence, you are going to talk about the machine learning, and so on and so forth. But where is your expert? Where is your expert? So that we have to develop the platform to go for the sustainability. Every day we can talk. That is the thing I am telling, that what I try to tell, that today the situation of coronavirus, we are successful. Why? Because having that collaboration, coming out from the boundary, because any data they're ready to share. The sequence of the co-virus data can be supplied to that. But if you are asking my students, right, kindly give your sequence data to the next junior, no sir, I don't want to give. Because I will go for the patent, so I will not give that, share the data. Then how we will get the success? Number 4th is a very important point, globalization. Tell that there are about 1,000 universities in India, 45,000 colleges, 200 research institutions in India. Why we are not reaching the global ranking? Because we are not giving the product to my society, except the vaccine, what you are giving today. Because every day my village people are asking that how you are going to solve the power problem, how you are going to solve that my drinking water problem. Everything they are asking. But what we feel that globalization is, exchange the students, exchange the teacher, so on and so forth. But they never thought that the product, what it's synthesized, produced because of your research, it's not coming to the society. My dear young students, please calculate it. How many medicines are synthesized in India, are prepared in India? That question you have to ask that when you are talking about the globalization. So what I try to tell, that you have to attract that industries, that university, go for the restructure in such a way that they have to attract the students. Okay, for this study, they are very good. Central University of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, or Hyderabad, where when I am sending my UK or US student, they can learn this study, particularly in India, where they are successful in this product. Can you tell one? That restructure is very important nowadays. So my dear students, so 4th Sutra I am expecting in the university higher education system for the smooth implement of NEP. Otherwise, it's not possible. Number 1, cooperation, collaboration. Number 2, coming out from the boundary. Number 3, what you call sustainability for anything, maybe agriculture, medicine, whatever you want to talk about it. Number 4, globalization. That means we have to attract that global level industries to India. Because what we are looking for in Central University of Tamil Nadu, within 1 minute I can complete it. So we have a very good system near Thiruvarur. This is called Delta District. We have to give that, what you call, how I can improve the agriculture in our area. The Central University of Tamil Nadu should give. Number 2, we have that good marine system, where I have to give that solution for my people living in that fisheries, people living in the coastal area. Number 3, lakhs and lakhs of birds are coming to Kodikarai. There is a place called Bird Sanctuary. There is no research. Nothing is there. How they are traveling, how we are moving, what type of food they are taking, how they are going from one country to another country? No. Then how we can attract that students, attract that international fellow? So my humble request is my faculty member and students. I mean, I have to congratulate our Vice Chancellor. We are already started to modify that syllabus. As already they told that in the physics department, it should go to all the department, where all the universities like us ready to collaborate with this great university, and we will implement NEP as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, we have with us Professor Sabu Thomas, Vice Chancellor, Mahatma Gandhi University. Sir will be joining us online to deliver his views on institutional restructuring.
Good morning from France. I'm right now, sitting in a university in France. I was supposed to join you, but I could not come in person. Vice Chancellor of the university and my fellow team members, distinguished academics and students. I'm extremely delighted to be part of you today. I will be very crispy in my talk because I have only 8 minutes. One of the first things we have to do in our education system to catch up NEP is the whole education process should be completely outcome-based. Dear colleagues, my university is working very hard to transform all our curriculum into completely outcome-based. The teaching methodology should be outcome-based. Examinations should be outcome-based. So everything has to be outcome-based. And we are working in that direction. Number two, dear colleagues, we have to increase our gross enrollment ratio to 50%. And what I have done in my university is we increased the number of seats. Almost we doubled. We started new academic programs. Dear colleagues, I started new 10 programs in the campus. And we also started new programs in the colleges. We increased the number of students' entry point into colleges. The next point I want to tell you is we have to be extremely multidisciplinary. Flexibility of subjects. I have stopped MPhil program in the campus. We started integrated program in the campus and in the colleges. 5 years of integrated program we started in science and social sciences. And eventually we are also going to start 4 years of bachelor's program and 1 year of PG program. We have already initiated in our campus. Dear colleagues, we introduced credit transfer. My students are able to attend lectures given by professors from other universities in the country and outside. And I get a lot of students from other countries in my campus. We are able to transfer the credit. Dear colleagues, we are also going to start academic bank of credits in the campus. And our education system should be completely multidisciplinary approach. Eventually, we are going to give greater autonomy to our colleges. Government of Kerala is actually formulating new education reforms. I'm also part of it. And we are recommending constituent colleges under my university, a large number of autonomous colleges. So eventually we will give them autonomy, all the colleges, probably within 10 years of time. And we have to phase out the affiliation program, then only the universities become more strong. Dear colleagues, we are also going to start mentoring system very actively. Faculty members retired from my university has been sort of invited as emeritus professors, and they are going to mentor my young colleagues. And I always like the single regulation for our university system, because now we have lots of regulatory bodies. And my university is going to attract a lot of philanthropic partnership. Private-public partnership is very important. Otherwise, dear colleagues, we cannot get 6% of GDP because government do not have that much of funding. So we have to really attract philanthropic partnership. That is extremely important. Private funding for universities. National Research Foundation is a good idea to have more funding for our research program. Whenever there is a call in my, from the central government, we try to encourage our faculty members to submit proposals. And dear colleagues, my university has a large number of proposals funded by DST, DBT, and international agencies. Right now, I am in France because of India-French program. We got a massive funding, India-French program. Internationalization of education. My university is working extremely hard to attract students from other countries, other states. And we wanted to, have more faculty members from other states. So we want the education system should be more international. We are also going to start, or we are going to initiate technology. Wherever you can apply technology, we are going to adopt technology. Technology for teaching, technology for learning, technology for evaluation, technology for research, technology for consultancy. So massive level of technology should be adopted in the campus. And dear colleagues, the philosophy should be anywhere, anytime, any level. That's what we are trying to do. Massive interaction with industry. University-industry interaction has been strengthened in my university. Every year we used to have at least 3 to 4 university-industry interface meeting. And dear colleagues, we are running a large number of industry-supported projects in the campus. And I also like the triple helix model, where the government, the companies, and the universities have to work together. We have to take up the major social problems as a main theme of the research. Networking is extremely important. We have to have a huge network between universities within India and abroad. And we are also going to embed entrepreneurship program, internship program, skill development program in all the academic programs. If you find something interesting in the laboratory, dear colleagues, we will patent it. We don't stop there. After patenting, we will publish in a high impact journal. We again will not stop. We will incubate it. And we will develop this as a technology. And my university has a science park funded by the ROSA. And this has been registered under Company Act. A very similar model we followed like IIT Madras. And I don't want to go further. My message to all my friends, academics, when you implement NEP, we have to be extremely careful. We have to be driven by the spirit of equality. We have to be driven by the spirit of social justice. We have to be driven by the spirit of secularism. We have to be driven by the spirit of sustainability. We have to be driven by the spirit of diversity, accessibility, and finally, excellence. And if you carefully implement NEP, I'm sure our youngsters could be transformed into dignified, intellectually strong, skilled global citizens. And we all have to work hard in this direction. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for joining us from France in spite of your busy schedule. Thank you once again. May I now invite Professor Siddegowda, Vice Chancellor, Tumkur University, for the closing remarks.
I am moved very much for 2 reasons. One is that all the 3 speakers have uniqueness in their life and work. Professor Sabu Thomas and Tankapan, 2% distinguished scientist in the globe, they have figured. Give big hand. Claps. 2%. 119 H index, Sabu Thomas. Height and score 969. Professor Dr. Tankappan, 57 H index. Really, the real what otherwise that the NEP is expecting, they are here already. If you come to Professor Krishnan, what that UGC made it clear way back in 2004. Higher education institutions should not sit on the ivory towers, but they should percolate down to the community and work with them. He is the man with the mission, Professor Krishnan. What a wonderful that the panel it is. Really, I am overwhelmed. All the three gave a very unique and exemplary that they talk with what the higher education demanding, that the innovation and excellence. You can see in these three persons both innovation as well as the excellence. Friends, I tell you that the real that implementation, changing that the institutional, that the structure lies in a top to bottom approach among the stakeholders is very important, and by means of power mantras like clean but competent, who are implementing it, light but tight regulations, openness from top to bottom, publish or perish, annual performance-based increments and promotions, periodic auditing of organizational performance through NEP, then punishing the inappropriateness by means of heavy penalty, faculty focused and student-centered NEP 2020 can be implemented successfully with a stated time force of 2030 with the SDG. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to felicitate our delegate. May I now invite our registrar, Dr. Santosh Kumar, sir, to felicitate Professor Y.S. Gowda, Vice Chancellor, Tumkur University, with a memento and shawl. Thank you, sir. I now invite Professor K.R. Tangappan, Dean, School of Medicine and Public Health, to propose the vote of thanks.
To save time, I have only one sentence as a vote of thanks. The Central University of Kerala is thankful to all the expert panelists for their outstanding contribution to the Roundtable Conference. We assure you that we will try our level best to implement your advice in the implementation of the NEP 2020. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
We are now moving on to our next session. The theme for the next session is digitalization of the higher education. All our panelists are joining us online for this one. And before that, I welcome Professor Ajit Kumar N, Dean, School of Cultural Studies, and Professor V. Rajiv, Dean, School of Languages and Comparative Literature, to join us on the dais. Today we have Professor Nageshwar Rao, Vice Chancellor, IGNOU, Professor R.P. Tiwari, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Punjab, Professor S.A. Kori, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Andhra Pradesh, Professor Ganga Prasad Prasain, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Tripura, Professor Parimal Vyas, former Vice Chancellor, Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda. Professor Achut Shankar S. Nair, Director, Center for Bioinformatics, University of Kerala. All of the above panelists will be joining us online. Now I request Professor Ajit Kumar N, Dean, School of Cultural Studies, to extend the welcome to our delegates.
Good afternoon to everybody. Nobody other than we two in the dais. Sorry for that. Everybody is joining to online only. Science explores, art expresses, and technology facilitates. In a world of technological explosion, digitalization, and a world dependent upon technology, we have become techno-savvy and teaching. During pandemic, proved it with most of taking classes and conducting exams and conducting meeting through online. Students are taking courses from the best universities and best faculties all over the world through MOOC. They don't have time for the second best. They should not also. NEP 2020 has given the clarion call to radicalize Indian education scenario, and it's set to look at India through Indian languages and reality. Encouraging teachers and students to live up to it is the task that is before us today. Indians have played a big role in making the world digital, and its contribution has been instrumental in a changed perspective of Indians all across the world. It was Indian mathematics and Sanskrit language that played a big role in this digital transformation of the world. As the world turns digital, it is time for Indians to become more self-confident, to look at themselves. The digital term also has its challenges and its possibilities. The session focuses on digitalization of higher education in Indian universities, and we are lucky to have such a panel, eminent scholars, including vice chancellors, to discuss the subject. Professor Nageshwar Rao, everybody is joining through online only. Professor Nageshwar Rao, Vice Chancellor of IGNOU, joined it after his turn as the VC of Uttarakhand Open University. He has supervised 41 scholars and has a major role in promoting online education at national level. We are lucky to get him in this session. I heartily welcome him for all. Professor Raghavendra Prasad Tiwari, Vice Chancellor of Central University of Punjab, is a distinguished academician with 36 years academic and administrative experience, and was awarded L. Ramarao Birth Centenary Award 2012 from Geological Society of India. I welcome him for the permission to this session, for the presentation to this session. S.A. Kori, Vice Chancellor of Central University of Andhra Pradesh, was a former Executive Director of Karnataka State Higher Education Council and a recipient of the UGC and DST Fellowship of the Indo-Hungarian Faculty Exchange Program in Europe. He has 195 national and international publications and an eminent scholar who were all looking forward to listen to. We cordially welcome you, sir, for our university. Dr. Ganga Prasad, Vice Chancellor, Tripura University, is a very celebrated scholar with 31 years of teaching experience and was the Dean and Professor of Commerce in Manipur Central University. He has 7 books and 72 research papers to his credit. I welcome you, sir, for all gathered here. Dr. Achyut Shankar S. Nair is the head of the Department of Computational Biology and Bioinformatics, Kerala University. I think that he is a role model of interdisciplinary education. Why? Because he holds 2 PhD, one in engineering and another one in music. He is also a visiting professor in various institutions in India and abroad. He led various IT development projects as the director of CDIT, Government of Kerala, and wrote 15 books, including a Malayalam novel, Tharippu. I welcome you, sir, for our university. And also, I am welcoming you all to these sessions. Thank you.
I now welcome Professor Nageshwar Rao, Vice Chancellor, IGNOU, for his opening remarks.
Good evening to all of you. Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala, Professor Venkateshwarlu ji, who has given me an opportunity to be with you all this evening. My colleagues, Professor R.P. Tiwari ji, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Punjab, Professor G.P. Parsai, Vice Chancellor, Northeast, Tripura University, then Professor S.A. Kori, Vice Chancellor of Andhra Pradesh University, Central University of Andhra Pradesh, Professor Parimal Vyas, former Vice Chancellor of MS University, Baroda, Professor A.S. Nair, and distinguished participants. It's a great occasion to deliberate and discuss the issues relating to higher education. The theme for this session is digitalization of higher education. The process is on, and this process, it was started in 2016, when for the first time we are having our SWAYAM platform. Ministry of Education has gone for that, and more than 3,000 courses they have been put on that. The course-based registrations, they have been started. And during this pandemic, the number has crossed more than 2 crores because the free registration is there. And examinations, they have been conducted by NTA. And the degrees, the courses which they clear, they are eligible for the credit transfers. There are 33 Swayamprabha channels which are being used for the teaching learning process for these Swayam courses. Now this process, it has further been promoted by the online regulations in 2018. Then in 2020, further these regulations, they have been modified to expand the base. And by today, around 58 educational institutions, higher education institutions, they are being permitted to go for these online programs. More than 300 online programs they have been identified. And we are reaching internationally also. We are now mentally prepared to move on. And in our budget speech, which was presented recently by our Honorable Finance Minister, the proposal to set up a digital university, it was also mooted. And only 10 days back, there was a breakup session, 7 breakup sessions were there, wherein Prime Minister has spoken about the issues relating to the higher education, including digitalization. If you look at the today's newspapers, we see that AICT and has come out with an advertisement wherein we can seek the collaborations of edtech companies also. And they have put a public notice for the comments also. That a lot of changes they are being visualized in the field of online education, including the technology part which we can partner with edtech companies. Things are moving very fast. We have to change our mindset to see the requirements which are specifically meant to promote online education. What we see today is that most of our materials, they are now digitalized and e-contents are available. Channels, they can also be used to reach to the learners. And even our own LMS, even our these technological support base, they all can help us in our endeavors. We are promoting the online education in a big way. Even recently in that UGC inviting comments, around 900 affiliated colleges, they're also being permitted to go for these online programs. Big boost is there because our target to reach the GER percentage to 50% from present 26. This require a better mode to reach to the concerned. Course-based learning. It promotes academic bank of credit. It promotes credit transfers. Swayam-based learning, Swayam Prabha channels available. Online material is available. Even our libraries are also, most of the books, they are digitalized. So the canvas is put before all of us. Regulatory support as well as the technological support. We can have it from both. And we all have to move forward. And if you look at that number of 58 institutions which are permitted to go for online, there are more than 1,000 universities and there are 900 affiliated colleges. So soon we can reach to a higher number. And here initially what they have done is that you have to look at your NAC parameter. You have to look your NIRF ranking. If NIRF ranking is 3.26 or more, and NAC is 3.2, NIRF ranking is in the top 100, and this NAC is 3.26 or more, you will be considered automatically for that. So things are moving, we all have to avail it, and the time has come to look into this digitalization process. These are a few observations, quick observations, initial observations, which I am presenting before all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I humbly request all the panelists to stick on to the time since we are running behind the schedule. I now invite Professor R.P. Tiwari, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Punjab, to give his lecture. Sir, you have to unmute yourself.
आप सबको नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, वड़क्कम. Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala, and all my friends, some of them my senior friends like Professor Nageshwar Rao Garu, Professor Kuri, Dr. Parimal Vyas. First of all, I would like to compliment the Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala for his wishful thought of organizing this very important discourse on all the parameters that are envisioned in NEP 2020. And one of the major reforms is digitalization of higher education. Professor Rao Garu has very nicely and illustratively presented some of the changes, some of the recent advancements that have happened in the area of digitalization of higher education. In fact, in the learning system of India, digitalization started with the setting up of electronic multimedia resource centers in around 18 universities in the country. And the basic mandate of these EMRCs, they are called, was to create e-modules and coursewares, e-coursewares on different themes. And then came InfluNet, where all the soft copies of PhD dissertations are to be submitted to InfluNet, so that electronic database can be created. So this was the beginning of digitalization in India. And then, as Professor Rao said, from 2016 onwards, when the before that, Swam Prabha, 32 channels, and then Swam platform through which MOOCs were, MOOCs are being offered continuously from 2018. Take any system, whether it is education system or social system or political system or economic system, if this system do not embrace the changes that are happening world over, then the system becomes a sort of rogue system, and it is not evolving, and it is not, it no more remains current and relevant. And that is what is happening with the education system. The major shift in the mindset of the teachers and learners, mentors and mentee both, is the two very important features that are happening. Is one is short memory span. The memory span of people is decreasing because there are so many things to remember. So this is number one. And the other important change that is happening in the mindset of the people is that screen saving tendency that is developing in us. So we tend to learn much faster, much clearly through screen. So these two changes, in order to leverage and make use of these two changes in the mindset of the younger generation, there's no other way but to go for digitalization. And when we talk about digitalization of higher education, it is not only the digitalization of teaching learning process, it is also the administration. And the government has made very sincere effort through summer project. Now almost all aspects of administration, academic administration, financial administration, administration per se, everything, now there is provision for digitalizing entire university administration through Samarth portal, and Ministry of Education is also monitoring how it is implemented in various universities. So this is one. Then academic, the content that is happening, through InfluNet and through MMRCs. All these 18 MMRCs are constantly engaged in creating e-modules, e-contents, and all these are being telecasted through 32 channels. So, this is academic. Now, regulatory reforms have also happened a lot. As Professor Rao has already talked, I don't want to repeat those things. So this, and then, the pedagogical reforms, now, because of, these socioeconomic conditions, because of unavailability of smartphones and unavailability of robust internet connectivity in every hook and corner of the country, now we are talking about hybrid education, or blended mode of learning. But the time will come when we have to completely switch over to online. And for this, the biggest challenge now before us, before the academia, Indian academia, is to create and translate all study material into digital form. That is the biggest challenge now that we are having, and not only in one language but in all vernacular languages, in all regional languages. For example, the NTH will conduct our common central university entrance examination in 13 languages. So conversion of study material in digital form, from physical form to digital form in different languages, that is the biggest challenge, and all education institutions should accept this challenge if we want to really completely digitalize the higher education and leverage its benefit to the learners. I always say that we have to democratize our learning system. And when we say democratize learning system, this means that students should have freedom to learn whatever they want to learn. They should have freedom to learn from wherever they want to they want to learn. And so this can happen, and this academic bank of credit is a big boost in this direction, and this is possible only through digitalization of education. Through online learning only academic bank of credit can happen. So and the type of courses that learners wants to have on credit, this can happen only through online education, and online education without digitalization is not possible. So this is another very important aspect. And the third one is that the delivery of knowledge, what we can talk about pedagogy. So pedagogy that suits the requirement of the present day learners cannot happen without digitalization of education, because now if you want to this give some new idea, new concept to the learners, which can occupy their memory span for longer period, that is possible only through ICT enabled pedagogies. Without that, it is not possible. And that is why there, it is not only the simple conversion of physical content, physical learning modules into digital learning modules, but also through gamifications, through videos, where the entire concept is dramatized and converted into digital form, so that learners understand in the much more better way. So this pedagogy. And the third one is reforms in the examination. Our examination needs huge reforms, and we have to go for this on-demand examination, which is not happening in India, and the other one is open book examination. So these two things also to happen in the learning system of India, we need to have complete digitalization, and then only right from admission, entry of the learners in the higher education system to exit point after examination. And the wonderful thing that is happening is that the uploading of digitalization of students awards and uploading in the DigiLocker. So this is another thing. Everything now, admission to this, there is provision. Government has created provision. Government has created enabling ecosystem, and now it is for the educational institutions like us to fully utilize all these potentials all of the digitalization of higher education and really make it happen, so that our learning system is not lagging behind from any learning system of the advanced country. We move ahead and we give best to our students, so that our learners, our products, they always remain current and relevant. They contribute meaningfully for the growth of the society, for the growth of the nation, and and our the idea of 5 trillion economy of the country can be realized only through this mechanism, only through this mode, with the entire learning system digitalized, and every learner ultimately after passing out becomes the part of the productive chain of the of economy of the nation, and this way only we can progress. I would like to again thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala for having given me this opportunity to express my views on this very important issue, and for having discussion and roping in experts from various parts of the country to deliberate and discuss the reforms of NEP 2020. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you very much, Professor Tiwari. I now invite Professor S.A. Kori, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Andhra Pradesh, to share his views.
Thank you, Madam. Good evening to all of you. Senior colleagues, Professor Venkateshwarlu, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala, and Professor Nageshwar Rao, Professor Tiwari ji, Professor Achyuta Shankar Nair ji, and other senior colleagues for inviting on this occasion. And Professor Venkateshwarlu took a lot of pain inviting across the country expert and making a lot of effort in connecting all of us. So on behalf of Central University of Andhra Pradesh, I thank you, sir, for your wonderful effort. Madam, I'm sharing my screen. Share now? This one?
Yes, sir.
Open that PPT.
Where?
No. This PPT, you open it. Maximize. The screen.
Yes, it is visible, sir.
You hear, madam? Yeah.
Yes.
So the topic is given to us, digitization of the higher education. So if you look at this picture, so all the students are connected across the globe and access to the information, whatever the information is available. And Professor Nageshwar Rao highlighted and Professor Tiwari ji said about it, how we are digitally connected, all these things. I don't want to go much on details of introduction. Everyone knew about that. So we started from our Gurukula system from education 1.0 to now we are talking about the 4.0. Even some of the countries, they've gone much ahead of 5.0, that is the society 5.0. So that the earlier, the open garden under the kind of system, now people are use the LCD, then projector, WhatsApp, and so many buzzwords who can learn and much faster than the older the generations. So the student who born after the 1990, it's called a Generation Z, their access to the internet, access to the information, and in the fingertip, they'll get all the information, whatever the content they need to obtain. So why we need a digitization in higher education? The teaching learning has been changed last 15 years, and abundant information is available with various sources. So take YouTube, Facebook, Wikipedia, then Google, and there are so many others. The information is available. That is the reason in IIT and IIM, they started the kind of the courses, the content have been developed in the MOOC or SWAYAM or so many other things. Government of India has spent a lot of money. So, and it is made available to across the country where the students can access at the free of cost. So that even the foreign university also, our students are taking some of the credits, and now Government of India has moved to the academic bank credit. That is one of the best initiatives. They can earn their credit and transfer and deposit, and based on that, the degree to be considered. So if you look at the benefits of this higher education, the digitization of higher education, it is more convenient, it is cost effective, and it's a virtual learning environment, share of lessons among the colleges, and the cost will be reduced. So you need not to spend the money for reinventing the wheel by every institutions and that is the one of the benefit of this digitization. And it is also a consistent, the central control of the content is available, the media reach easier to understand and more engaging and repeatable as many times either the student can learn or the teacher can learn from this content, easier to monitor, and less administrative work is involved in the digitization of higher education systems. So you can also see the interconnectivity of universities. We can share the e-content so that the best teacher e-content can be shared to the across all the country, and sharing of the digital library is already in place. The exchange of faculty, university can exchange the eminent faculty to one place to other place so that the time is available for the other purposes. So as Professor Tiwari said it, the Samartha portal has brought so many more than 37 modules, and we're all digitally connected. There are n number of the modules are there, and it is a need of the hour. It is a need of the hour where we can connect all the student, the teachers, our e-content, the timetable, the examination, the student enrollment, and sitting just pressing in one button, we can see the how many credits the student has earned and what is the backlog and what kind of other activities he has taken. So everything can be seen by the digitization of this higher education. And examination reform is also one of the very important, and most of the even the technical universities started more than a decade and a half, a decade, almost 15 years before. They made it as a digitization of the examination, that is examination management system. The students can write online, and it will be digitally transferred to the teacher wherever they are there, even sitting in their house. They can evaluate the answer this thing by digitally and submit their marks, so that the award of marks, the time taken for the evaluation or the movement of faculty from one place to other place, maybe the experts are available in the north or from the south or from the east or west, the digital answer booklet can be transferred to for the evaluation. So that will be one of the major reforms in the examination to be introduced in the higher education system. So there are many other operational processes online the higher education, that is about the class scheduling, the customizing the syllabi. So recently, even in the most of the European university has come out with the curriculum design. So they spend more time on the curriculum design rather than the teaching learning process, so that the outcome-based education or the LOCF, then what is the rubrics are used and what is the purpose of teaching, all those things can be customized by digitizing the things. And there will be also a flipped pedagogy is there. The lectures can be replaced with the discussions based on the digital content shared before the classes, so that students can go through and attend the classes, so that it will be more on interactive. So in the present system, what will happen, almost 50 minutes to 1 hour teaching happens, but there is no much of the interaction with the student. So there should be more of even in MIT also, the student the observation, the first 10 minutes, whatever the teachers or professors who can deliver in the first 10 minutes, that will be more effective teaching rather than the rest of the 45 minutes. So that kind of a system to be adopted even in the classing, and that comes only when the digitization has been taken place. So there are many benefits to the academic institutions by going this. I don't want to read this. And many benefits to the student and many benefits to the teachers. So across the country, we have even mixed the faculties, the old, the middle age, and the young faculty. And young faculty are more on towards the digitization of the use of gazettes and other things, their deliverable things. But compared to the older faculty, that has to be tuned to the new system. So that is the one to be looked into. And there are many government, as already Tiwari Saab already told about, government of India has spent a lot of money and created already the digitization in higher education, creating a virtual lab, e-yantra, the National Digital Library, Swayam is there. Then spoken tutorials are created, national academic depositories are there, and even plagiarism also it is there. The software is available if anybody is copied, whether it is thesis or project thesis, whether it is MPhil or the postgraduate or even PhD, that can be found out easily by the digitizations. So there are many the advantages, the educators, professional the competencies, and educators for pedagogical competencies and learner competencies. There are a number of the parameters are given that is to be looked into in almost all the educational institutions. So ICT is a big boom, already started almost a decade before. A lot of information is available, and the students have access to that, and how much they have to access, and that is to be monitored by a teacher. Without that, it is very difficult to understand whatever the technology, even you bring in the higher education institutions, the teacher is to be connected to the individual subject. So the best example, what we learned from the digitization of the technology, the pandemic situation, almost 2 years we had a big, the reforms. The pandemic has taught a better lessons and other things. And even under such situations, all educational institutions have run the online education and very effective online education. Of course, the effectiveness of the online is 30 to 40% that everyone knew about. That is the truth, but nobody reveals the challenges. But it is the first experiment across the country. Their academic tenure has not been lost. And most of the institutions who are above 3.6 of NAC grade or the top 100 NRF ranking, so they almost introduced 40% of the MOOC courses and SWAYAM courses in all the degree institutions. But look at we have more than 45,000 institutions and more than 1,000 almost 50 universities, but not are all up to those standards. So the government of India has to be looked into because the university has to provide an education across the country, the same kind of education, whether it is a central institute or state public institute or the private institute. So the quality of education should not be diluted. So that then only we can produce a good youth to the society. There are many challenges. Still then we have many challenges. We have inadequate basic infrastructure facilities like mobile connectivity, affordable internet or mobile data. And educators with the insufficient soft skills, evaluating the answer script and the online the assessment. Our educational institutions have been placed in various the places, not only in the district places, even in the remote places and even in the forest areas where the internet connectivity, and even we could not provide the 24/7 electricity for them. So under such conditions, so how best it is to be more effective, that is to be looked into by the policy makers. So finally, a Subhashita from the Mahabharata, which sums up with how one learns and grows. So the learning happens from the teachers is learned a quarter, only 25% the student will learn from the quarter, another quarter from the students of own intelligence, that is individual his own intelligence, a quarter with the passage of time. So along the growing, you can learn the remaining 25% of the knowledge and acquire the knowledge, and a quarter from a fellow students. And he'll learn by interacting, by exchanging his thoughts with the students. So ultimately what we are concentrating is with the first 25% and how much we are delivering our the curriculum and how much we can make them to understand. So that is very, very important on this issue. So with this, just I'll conclude because I don't want to take much of time on this. So thank you very much for giving for the opportunity on this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite Professor Ganga Prasad Prasain, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Tripura, to share his perspectives on NEP. Since he's Professor Prasain is not online, so we are moving on to the next speaker. I now invite Professor Achyut Shankar S. Nair, Director, Center for Bioinformatics, University of Kerala, to speak on the theme.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can I have my presentation shared? I have sent in advance.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Very good afternoon to all my respected fellow panelists, Vice Chancellor of the Central University of Kerala, all the students and fellow academicians who are present offline. Thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Sir, can you see the slide?
Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can. I will tell you when to move. I'll tell you when to move the slides. Can you go on to the next slide, please? I come from the University of Kerala. This is my department. Next, please. This is again a view of my department. I'm just trying to make up for the online, boredom by trying to put some life into what I'm talking. This is the small department that I have, the Department of Bioinformatics. I'm today trying to focus on just one very narrow aspect of the NEP. NEP 2020, in one of its sections in higher education, talks about disruptive technologies being used in higher education. It rightly identifies AI, machine learning and deep learning. Please hold on to the slide. I will tell you when to move. It rightly identifies AI as one of the most important disruptive technologies to be absorbed into the higher education system. So I will today talk on this particular aspect. I think it is a very welcome thing and a very visionary thing that the policy has noted this and tried to latch it onto the policy document. And I am sharing some of the visions about this in the years to come. Next, please. I start with some quotes by great thinkers and just slide on to what I would like to say. This is Brunner, who said anything can be taught to anyone. Next, please. And this is Howard Gardner, who amounted to saying that everyone is intelligent in some ways. And now technology is also telling us something. Anything can be learned. This seems to be a compliment to what. Can you please go on to the previous slide? Wait for me to say next. This seems to be a compliment to what Jerome Brunner said. Anything can be learned. We are living in an age where anything can be learned. I would like to repeat what I said. I will come back to this concept again and again. Next. Machine learning is an evolved form of artificial intelligence. Google Guru says that these are computer algorithms that can improve automatically through experience and by use of data. So this is something that warms the heart of all teachers, because we also really believe that education is all about automatically improving through experience and use of data. So I just leave this question that can teachers learn anything from machine learning of computers? Next, please. We all know, I just want to just pinpoint again that machine learning is already delivering. If you go to the Facebook and post your photo, when I post my photo, I do not know who is with me. Many people are with me. But Facebook knows who is with me, even though I do not know. The face recognition, emotion recognition, whether you are happy or sad or angry, it can recognize. Speech recognition, we are all using it now with the softwares like Alexa. Translation, it does reasonably good translation from one language to another. And of course, driverless cars and targeted marketing. These are all happening and all being used by a huge number of people all over the globe in all sectors of human activity. Next, please. I would just like to show you, it is very close to magic rather than technology right now. This is a series of photographs, images. The speciality is that none of these people exist. This comes from a website called I Do Not Exist. And it can generate faces of people which look very real, but which are not actually real. I will come back to this, why it means a lot in higher education. I will mention in a moment. Next, please. This is again a very, very widely known example of AI. The Guardian newspaper, a couple of years ago, invited a program to write an article for its edit page, and it published that article. And the two paragraphs that I am showing here are an article written by a computer, which is published in a newspaper. Now, the academicians here can immediately see there is danger we have seen a lot of cases of plagiarism, students copying assignments and essays. Now we are going to face a very big problem in future. Students will get a program to generate an essay. You can't say it is copied. Nobody can find that there is any similar document. But the student submits it, and it is a very high quality. The only problem is that the student, it did not arise out of the intellect of the student. This is what AI is doing right now. Next, please. And of course, it can also compose poems. These are two poems, one on Donald Trump and another on COVID-19, small, tiny poems. This is all done by a program called GPT-3, Generative Pre-trained Transformer. I think this is going to be a big headache for higher education. The whole PhD thesis could be written by GPT-3, and the examiners would have real trouble. They cannot go to plagiarism software to check whether it is copied, because it is not copied. It comes out of the constructed intellect of a machine. GPT-3 can also write computer programs. It can do anything with language. So these are things which are going to disrupt. The word used in national education policy is disruptive technology. This will disrupt all our notions, all our existing systems of higher education. Next, please. I just want to close this application about machine learning by citing and work that my team has done in the University of Kerala. During the lockdown period, we had a problem of face recognition. Many of the face recognition softwares were failing because people were putting their mask on, and we were not able to identify people. So we have developed a machine learning program. Even if you put the mask on, it will recognize you. And just the eyes or part of the eye is enough. And even if you turn around, it recognizes. I show this to indicate you, in a matter of about 2 weeks, you could develop a system like this if you have sufficient data. What does this mean in research? What does this mean in higher education? Let us think about it in the years to come. Next. In higher education, I come to the possibilities in higher education. Student enrollment, management, and analytics, machine learning can be used. Student enrollment, if you even currently, if you run an advertisement of a university admission, postgraduate admission on Facebook, it is able to send your advertisement precisely to an age group in a particular people with particular interest, people in a particular district. It is able to do this very effectively, and I think that to ensure we have student diversity in campuses, machine learning can be used to attract people who are interested to come to a particular state, and a lot of analytics can be provided by machine learning, which can be used for educational planning. I even think that it is time to think of a data scientist for every university who would actually manage all these activities. I will come to specific one soon. Then personalized teaching, research, assessment and evaluation, and institutional administration. Well, we have a lot of issues waiting for us to handle. Training, how much funds are required for this, deploying this technology, ethical issues, privacy issues, explainability of these systems. Next. So I just mentioned this, just next one. Machine learning in teaching and learning. I show here a photograph of a Chinese classroom. In China, anything can be done. And what is being done is a camera is put in the classroom, and the camera is able to use emotional recognition to identify which person is not cooperating with studies, which person is lazy. I think some of us teachers do know this when we look into the eyes of the students. But here a camera is doing this. Not surprising in a country where people are classified as good and bad citizens and denied some basic rights. So I'm not recommending what is happening in China, but just out of curiosity, I'm showing that there are even systems which can identify which is the best time for a student to learn a particular topic. That even that level it is possible. When there are driverless cars which uses machine learning, this is not a surprise. Next, please. In research, if you search the net on artificial discovery, you will find that most of the drugs that we use today, they are being discovered by the computer. Of course, they are vetted by human beings, but they are being discovered by computers. Machine learning can be used to raise questions that researchers can answer. It can generate questions based on existing knowledge. It can generate new wonderful questions, which can become the trigger for research in higher education. Next. In assessment and evaluation, the possibilities are very, very high. You know, normally the computer is used for multiple and verifying or marking multiple choice questions, but it is quite possible that you can use the computer to mark essays. And how it should be done is, you get a few, suppose there are 10,000 manuscripts of an examination to be marked, you get thousands of them randomly chosen and marked by human teachers, and that mark and the answer scripts together, if it is given to a machine learning system, it will be able to replicate that quality of marking in the rest of the answers.
Sir?
Yes.
Sorry about the interruption. Could you please?
Yeah, I will wind. Next, please. Next. In educational administration, decision making, it can be used. Decisions can be taken by the machine learning program. Next, please. Okay, I will skip this. I wanted to say about active content. You know, we should not, in NEP, it is said that content creation should be done. It is very easy to slip into flashy animations as e-content. But actually, any e-content should justify itself by providing new learning experiences. Next. I will just sign off with this slide, a bit of humor. You know, the digitization of education during the COVID times has brought up a lot of surprises, one of which is that, you know, there cannot be any more grave professors. This one professor of philosophy, grave professor of philosophy, was lecturing gravely online in Google Meet. Suddenly into the frame comes his wife and tells him, stop lecturing, come and cut some onions. You know, I thought that was a very good thing to happen. The professor became a human being in front of the students, not just a machine. I will sign off here. I'm sorry for overstepping the time allotted to me. I think that there is great amount of attention we need to pay in deploying machine learning in higher education system, and I hope the universities will take special note of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I now invite Professor Nageshwar Rao, Vice Chancellor, IGNOU, to give his closing remarks. I suppose Professor Rao is not online. Let us move on to the vote of thanks. I now invite Professor V. Rajiv, Dean, School of Languages and Comparative Literature, to formally give the vote of thanks.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. The core content of this session of the Roundtable Conference of NEP is digitalization of higher education, which has been discussed here by eminent experts. The session is enlightened with fruitful aspects followed by discussions. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of Central University of Kerala, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks who have contributed to this session. First of all, my duty is to express vote of thanks to Professor Nagesh Rao, Vice Chancellor, IGNOU, for opening remarks. Sir, you truly make this session full of knowledge for us. Your deep and intellectual way of imparting knowledge has added to the glory of this seminar. Thank you so much, sir. I express my sincere thanks to Dr. R.P. Tiwari, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Punjab. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence, sir. Thank you very much for your inspiring and informative talk. Next, Professor S.A. Kori, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Andhra Pradesh, is an eminent scholar and academician. Sir, your vigorous speech gratified much this Academy of Scholars. I express our sincere thanks to you, sir. Next, I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Achyut Shankar S. Nair, University of Kerala. I hope he can contribute more noble ideas to the core theme of this session. I extend my gratitude to our honorable guest, Professor Achyut Shankar S. Nair. I also thank Dr. N. Ajit Kumar, Dean, School of Cultural Studies, for his welcome address. Then I extend thanks to all of the people
who are present here and participate in this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We now move on to the valedictory session of this two-day roundtable conference on strategizing NEP 2020 implementation, the way forward. I now invite Dr. N.C. Induchudan, President, Vidyabhyasa Vikasa Kendram, Dr. Joseph Koipalli, convener of the program, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor H. Venkateshwarlu, and Sri Lakshmanan, ABRSM, to join on the dais. Online, sir.
I gave you one number. Please go ahead with the program. There is Dr. Joseph.
Shall we go ahead?
You please go ahead. He has come.
Now I would like to welcome Dr. N.C. Induchudan, President, Vidyabhyasa Vikasa Kendram, to offer the welcome address.
Respected Vice Chancellor, Dr. Professor H. Venkateshwarlu, then respected Lakshman ji, and Dr. Joseph Koipalli, and distinguished persons of the dais. I'm very happy to say the welcome note on this valedictory session of this roundtable conference, which has been organized in association with Central University of Kerala, has organized this workshop in some roundtable conference in association with Shiksha Samskriti Udhanyas. As a president of the Shiksha Samskriti Udhanyas Kerala unit, here in Kerala it is called Vidyabhyasa Vikasa Kendra. And when the very first day onwards, we have been noticing the enthusiasm of our Honorable Vice Chancellor. From the first day onwards, he has put the entire team on the toes and has been working, and it has become very, very successful. And I'm very happy to announce that the Honorable Minister of State, Subhashji, has already said, immediately after the meeting, he said he's very happy over the thing and the leadership of our Vice Chancellor. It has been very successful, and he has requested to send the entire proceedings and the videos also. So you can all be very proud of that. It has been organized very well. And here is a very important thing when the country is different. Now there is a different India that we are living in. We are all very lucky. We are taking the country forward to be the world leader by 2047. The Amritolsav, for which now there is a 25 years of Amrita Kalam. Our Honorable Prime Minister has said Amrita Kalam to be ready for the world leader by when we are having the centenary celebration of our independence. And we are at the cutting edge of everything, deep-rooted in our ethos, culture, heritage, and we are at the cutting edge of technology, whether it is nuclear technology, atomic technology, satellites, or cloud technology, artificial, whatever it be. And our next generation has to be well equipped for that, for which the national education policy has been framed. It has to be implemented. There are many problems, but we are here not to discuss the problems, but we have already found solutions. And still we have to search solutions. after that, we have to somehow implement it. See that it is the vision of the government, vision of the people, because this is a policy which has been discussed with lakhs of people, and it's a dream of our country. It has been materialized. And entering to my duty, I am to honor, no need of introducing our Vice Chancellor, Professor Venkateswarlu. He is a management expert, and the entire team has seen how he has managed it so successfully. And he has a very good teacher, very good academic track record, guided more than 25 students. And he was the Joint Director of National Academy of Development. And he has the next subject expert in UGC and all. And I know. So, as a matter of courtesy, I offer my welcome to you, sir. He has been our host also. And this Dr. Pankaj Mitra, she has joined. She may join anytime. She is a Secretary General of the Association of Indian Universities. And she has also good track records. It's a product of IIRI New Delhi. She has worked in UGC also. Welcome, Dr. Pankaj Mitra, to the meeting. And Lakshmanji, I should have introduced earlier. He is known as Lakshmanji. He is a native of Nellore in Andhra Pradesh, and for more than 30 years, he has been working in the field of education. After his education, he has completely surrendered his life, sacrificed his life, and their time and expertise has been devoted to the welfare of the country. And he's also with the same goal he is working, selfless service. And now he is the National Joint Secretary of Akhila Bharatiya Shikshak Mandal, ABRSM. So welcome, sir. Next is our own faculty, Dr. Joseph K. Joseph. He is an associate professor and head of department of English and Comparative Literature. And he is also a product of JNU National University. He has done his MA and PhD from there. And he is a member in the Executive Council, Academic Council, and he is member of the PG Board of Studies in English and Linguistics in both in Central University and Mangalore University, then Rajagiri College, etc. And he is an editor of the International Journal of Humanities. And he is also director of University Placement Cell and Center for Language Skills and director of Center for Translation Studies. Very active professor. I welcome you, sir. So next to the entire audience, each and every person has to be named and individually addressed. You are worthy of. I'm very, very happy to be in the midst of all of you. Welcome you all to this validity session. Thank you.
Now, allow me to welcome Dr. Joseph Hoypalli, convener of the program for report presentation.
Thank you very much to all the faculty members. I think it has been a bit tough, long, but very intensive, but very useful, I'm sure, that it has led to the internalization of the program. Now, we don't want to hear any words like flexibility, multidisciplinary, and all that. Probably only you would like to act. So every department, I'm sure, will go back and act. And I'm extremely thankful to the organizers. We have had a formal vote of thanks also will come, but I wanted to say personally, like we have a team coming from guest house, Dr. Jarmina and Guru Shankara and Dr. Ranjit, who has taken care of the whole stage. And then we have a comparing team, almost about 3 to 4 people are there. We had a cultural team on second. And then the whole administrative setup has helped us to do such a grand program. You know, we never imagined that it would be so lengthy and also grand. So both purposes, though difficult, we have achieved. And my congratulations to you all for your great patience. Maybe whatever the deficiencies are there in this program, we will try to edit the deficiencies in the coming future programs. I am particularly thankful to SSUN organizers and also ABRSM organizers who have really helped us, particularly to the Ministry of Education. I am told that Ministry of Education has expressed its delightness for the quick initiative taken up by the Central University of Kerala. As I always tell, if there is any mistake, I hold the mistake. I will be held responsible for the mistake. But when there is a program with a grand success, the success belongs to all of you. So therefore, it is all your success, and my congratulations. And we have a special guest here, Gunta Lakshmanji. Is my good friend for the last so many decades from Hyderabad, and also he's a social worker. Presently, he's working with ABRSM, a unit of the teacher organization. Recently in Hyderabad, he conducted a meeting of a meeting on NEP 2020 with about 1,000 students. Because here, 1,000 faculty, 1,000 faculty. We have a big auditorium called as Tagore Auditorium. In that, he conducted a program with 1,000 faculty, not presentations, but just understanding. So all of you, we teach in marketing. I'm a business management teacher. First, anything to happen for a product, awareness should be created. So the exercise, I am sure what we have done today is knowing and tomorrow doing. So if you know more clearly, we feel repetitive, but once we know that what is it clear, like Atulji said very clearly, and I was also telling you the same, that we should start the work. And I'm sure with the presence of so many galaxy of personalities, it's just almost unthinkable. In fact, I myself was surprised. Like, we had a huge participation across the country. It is much more than a national conference. In national conference, you have some 3 or 4 teachers, or there are 3 or 4 people, eminent personalities. But here we had almost, this reflects the collective opinion of the country. That's what the Ministry of Education is consciously and anxiously waiting for, the result and the opinion. So I'm sure this will go a long way. With this brief introduction, once again, thanking all of you for the wonderful teamwork that you have exhibited, and you have proved that yes, Central University of Kerala, we have only one unit. There are no any kind of divisions. We don't have physics, chemistry division. We don't have social science and science division. We have only one unit. The unit strives for mentoring the student, and in the next 10 years to come, we are going to be, I'm sure, in the top 10 of the central universities in the country. I'm 100% sure with all the publications that you are doing. With this, I request now Lakshman Guntaji to give his remarks. Please address the gathering. And I told him 5-6 minutes. He said about maximum 10 minutes. And thank you very much, Lakshmanji, for being with us.
So, Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor H. Venkateshwarlu Garu and Hindu Chudanji and Professor Joseph Ji, and off the dais, many dignitaries are here, and faculty members. So those who are all attending this prestigious program, namaste to one and all. First of all, I want to congratulate HV sir. I have seen many seminars like this, seen and organized. And here, it is something different. Just now he mentioned the galaxy of prominent personalities, resource persons. I had not attended. Maybe somebody may organize it and you may attend it. But for me, it is the first time. because since morning I'm experiencing, and yesterday deliberations, I have seen all the prominent people. When we are exchanging views, sir said, sir, I thought of, if you want some 6 resource persons, we have to try for 10. But as for 10 people, all the 10 people, they said, okay. So how I can deny them? That was the, so that was the, connectivity, and that was the interaction, and that was the, your Honorable Vice Chancellor's capability. So that I want to mention here, because it is not possible by anyone. Maybe exceptional. I'm just now, sir said said that he knows me very well for a long period. Same. I have experienced many things from him. He is the president for Commerce Association, All India Commerce. He was elected the president for that, and he's having a lot of contacts throughout the country. He used to travel so many places. And his successful achievement is he organized, he is the convener for the centenary celebrations of Usmania University. You heard the name of Usmania University? So it is a prestigious university, and successfully he organized the celebrations out of so many restraints, and that shows his capability of organizing the things, and organizing such a big program in Usmania University. Really, it is a very big challenge. So now I would like to congratulate him, and same time I would like to thanks to him inviting me here and giving me an opportunity to be with you to share my views. So since morning, whatever the deliberations that has happened, you are all witnessing. I'm not going into the details of the subject, not multiple entry, exit, academic, bank of credits, these, that, everything you know. And now you come to know. Now the country is it is celebrating. It's 75 years of independence celebrations. Our country is a unique country. If you go into detail, you can find what is the uniqueness of this country. In the world, there are many countries. If you have any problems in the universe, you can find the solution here in our country. Today, it may be environmental issues, it may be terrorism, it may be when you're talking about sustainable development, many issues are there. And what are the problems? If you follow the basic principle and the core idea of this country, the culture, the philosophy, the ancient culture of this country, that is the uniqueness of this country. Inclusiveness. We accepted everything. Because of that, we become Vishwaguru. Morning, Honorable Minister is mentioning about the ancient Indian universities. It may be Nalanda, Takshashila, Magadashila, Vikramashila, so many such. I don't know how many of you gone through the history of those universities. Each university is having more than 10,000 students, 60, 70 departments. Today, whatever you are introducing, new courses, every course was taught on those days. Students from throughout the country used to come to here. Apart from that, the science, technology today, whatever you're talking about, everything is imbibed. Everything is profound. The people of this country, ancient, somebody may accept Rishi, Muni. No, they are not some simple, by name, few may not be accepted. But they are the personalities, they dedicated themselves to innovative something, to work out something. Today, what we are having this Vedas, Upanishad, whatever it may be. So thousands years ago, we have that history and science, technology, whatever today you are not talking, and whatever you are not talking today, even you are not able to reach out the technology that was existed in our country, any area. Why I'm mentioning this, now this is the time to realize ourselves, where we are today. When we are celebrating 75 years of our Indian independence celebrations, where we are standing now. Country is marching ahead in many areas. The way how we faced the COVID and how we overcome the COVID issue, international relations, we are experiencing Ukraine, what is happening and what is the role of Bharat. And when it comes to the economy, when it comes to infrastructure, foreign policy, internal security, whatever it may be. So you can see the list of achievements. For the first time, the common man of this country is benefiting. The common man of this country was addressed. It may be Jandan Kata, it may be many issues are there, many achievements are there. I can list so many. When it comes to the education, we have to march a long way. This new national education policy has given an opportunity to revisit our own education system and revamp the entire education system. I have experienced throughout the globe, wherever you go, you can see the Indian students. Today we are in Ukraine, these many students are going for medical education. Just because of this war, you come to know. It may be Germany, it may be Australia, it may be London, it may be whatever, Belgium, Poland, wherever you go, I know many from these countries, Indian students are in majority number. Canada, Toronto University is there. There are more than 1 lakh students in Toronto University campus. Out of the 10% are Indians. And I visited many campuses in the US. Everywhere there's a Lakshman, you hear we are in the big number. In any campus, they said that Indians are in big number. Out of curiosity, I asked, what is our performance number compared to other countries? Without a second, they said, no, we are top. That means the Indian cream, the intellectuality, no, now it is there everywhere. Now, again, the question is coming, why these people are going? And present what existing system, except few national primary institutions and few central universities like this, what is the fate of the state universities? What is the fate of all the government institutions? I can challenge. I have experiences. Had gone through each and every state. I know what is the fate of these state universities or +2 school education, whatever it may be. There may be some exceptional institutions may be there. But in total, it is very pathetic. It is not at all good for the country. Now time has come. We have to work on it. Today, within our country also, there are many university campuses, multidisciplinary campuses, where the number is more than 10,000, 15,000 vibrant campuses. I can start from Shastra University from Tanjavur to Lovely University, Punjab, or I can say Ashoka, Mahindra, or Symbiosis ICFI, these, that, I can mention the names. And there is a crazy for these institutions. Why? I visited Tanjavur. I surprised people from north, that is Delhi, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. All the way they came here for their education. It is not engineering, law, and from other. Why? Yes, the people, those who trained there, those who had their education there, they had a bright future. Why? Yes, the way of teaching, the way they are following, the methodology. Today, whatever we are talking about, the what NEP says, these things were implemented in these institutions long back, except few. Yesterday I was in Tirupati when I met Dr. Ganesh, who is the director for ICER. He is telling that, no, Lakshmanji, from day one, today what the NEP is saying, day one we introduced this. Academic bank of credits or choice-based credit system, whatever today we are talking about. And the faculty development program, and why these universities are flourishing. And I'm just, I want some comparison. These universities are now flourishing, and when it comes to the state universities or state institutions, why this kind of, I said the pathetic fate. So now few people are opposing NEP. This is my direct question to them. Who is going to benefit with this NEP 2020? I'll say with confidently, it is going to benefit the poorest of the poor of this country. I know how many education department, whether you people learned about this ECE, early childhood care education. What is the purpose? Why? Why this UKG, LKG, pre-KG? Yes, those who have money, they can able to manage their children. The who are affecting the villages, the downtrodden people, the poor people, the government want to strengthen, the policy want to strengthen. This is school education. That is the right age to grow up their mind and personality, whatever it may be. And this multidisciplinary 4 years degree course, research foundation, and everything, whatever is discussed in that, it is not made by something else. It is because Narendra Modi ji is there. Something is there. Who? Kasturi Rangani said this is, and 4 years it took, thousands of suggestions came. Even now, they are ready to accept the valid suggestion. So I don't want to take much time. What I want, yes, this is the responsibility of this group. We have to see the growth of these campuses. We have to see there should be vibrations in the campuses. Why the NEP 2020 suggesting cut short of the number in the institutions? Why they are preferring for multidisciplinary courses? It can say as a holistic approach. Why this multiple entry, multiple exit? It is student centric. Many provisions are there. I'm not going to discuss everything in detail. Please, I request all of you go into the details. Morning, I'm not wrong. Somebody says no. It is each one of us the responsibility, being the citizens of this country, how I can contribute. All the times we'll discuss this is happening, that is happening, this, that, this. No, we can busy with that only. Please, because you are a light people in the society, and you are the faculty members of the great prestigious central universities that to Kerala, and you have fortunately the capable vice chancellor here, and very happy. Whenever we used to Lakshman, we are we are implementing this. We are going to, by getting good results. I feel very happy. So that is needed. If Kerala Central University aggressively goes into the details, and if they can show something good or positive results, all other universities will follow you. They will call you. What is the outcome? What is the problem? How you overcome this? Why don't Kerala Central University should be a model university implementing the policy and witnessing the results. I'm requesting you people should take that credibility. As a citizen of this country, no, it is. Why I'm very specific. It is the problem of mindset. Our own people, they're not ready. Why this 4 years? No, why this ABC? You go into the details. No, in the morning when question answer sessions, many things has come. And the people, those who prepared that, no, they are not innocents or they are illiterates. With all their experience, with their vision. I don't know how many of you have visited the reputed universities of the globe and others. If you go there and you can see the work culture there, you can see the work culture here. Why our country was Vishwaguru, and today why we are like this? I'm saying this country is a unique country. This soil is having uniqueness. Bharat, no, it should be flourish. It should be the answer for all the issues of the globe. For that, we should be the barriers and we should take the responsibility on our shoulders, because you are all the enlightened people and you are well settled and you are well matured and knowledgeable persons, and we can do it, and we can torchbearers for other universities. So with this appeal, once again I am thanking Dr. HV sir, and one more thing, since morning there's no break. It is continuously is going on. No, I don't know whether HVs are given some instructions or I don't know. No session, nobody is there outside. There's no break, continuously. So really, I congratulate all of you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Namaste.
Now I invite Dr. Pankaj Bittal, Secretary General, Association of Indian Universities, for the valedictory address. Dr. Mittal has served as an administrator for several higher education institutions. She has contributed extensively towards the promotion of rural women folk through her work.
समापन वक्तव्य के लिए महासचिव भारतीय विश्वविद्यालय संघ डॉक्टर पंकज मित्तल जी हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं। बता दें कि डॉक्टर पंकज मित्तल उत्तर भारत के पहले ग्रामीण महिला विश्वविद्यालय भगत फूल सिंह महिला विश्वविद्यालय कानपुर की पहली स्थायी कुलपति रही हैं। भारतीय विश्वविद्यालय संघ के 96 साल के इतिहास में दूसरी महिला महासचिव रही। I invite Dr. Pankaj Mittal for the valedictory address.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. First of all, let me thank the Vice Chancellor of the University, Dr. Venkatesh Rivullu, for inviting me for this valedictory function. I'm seeing respected Professor R.P. Tiwari, who is also there joining this conference. Namaskar, sir. And I see a large number of faculty and maybe students also sitting. From here, I am not able to visualize fully because it's very small window which is available. So thanks for inviting me here, and also please accept my compliments for holding a conference or webinar on such an important theme, because as you know, national education policy is being widely debated, and now a lot of work is being done towards the implementation of the NEP. And as was told by the previous speakers also, NEP, if implemented in letter and spirit, has the potential of converting India into a Vishwaguru once again. I say once again, because we all know that India was a Vishwaguru, say at times of Nalanda, when so many foreign scholars were studying in Indian universities. So right now, I mean, you are seeing the Ukraine crisis right now, that many of our students are going outside for study. Something like 10 lakh students are going outside India for studying in foreign universities abroad, whereas the students who are coming to India is only around 50,000. And at that time, with such a less population, the number of students in one university, Nalanda, was 10,000, and that too from across the globe. So therefore, I say that India was a Vishwaguru, and this national education policy has the potential of converting India into a Vishwaguru once again. So therefore, my compliments to the university for holding a conference on such a relevant theme. Now, when the NEP comes, we know that the NEP came in July 2020, and a lot of discussions have taken place, a lot of webinars have taken place to create the awareness about the NEP. But the real crux of the problem is the implementation, because it's easier said than done. Implementation is not very easy, but again, I feel that implementation, the government will be taking many steps, and there are some aspects which the government will take care. For example, whether it is establishment of HACCI or the four verticals of HACCI, or it is the establishment of, say, National Research Foundation, or allocating 6% of GDP to education. But apart from that, there are many issues which can be handled at the level of the university also. In my view, something like 60 to 70% of the recommendations of the national education policy can be implemented at the level of universities. So what do we need? We need, of course, infrastructure. All these things are required, but more than that, we need the willingness of the university leaders and the academicians, and the passion on the part of the university leaders and both faculty members. I do remember that in a long time back, when the foundation stone of Jamia Millia was being laid down, Dr. Zakir Hussain was laying down the foundation stone, the Vice President of India at that time. He said, it was in Hindi, I will say in Hindi and then translate in English. He says, किसी भी संस्था को बनाने के लिए समान से ज़्यादा अरमान की ज़रूरत होती है. Arman means passion of the teachers, passion of the leaders, passion of the vice chancellor. So किसी भी संस्था को बनाने के लिए समान से ज़्यादा अरमान की ज़रूरत होती है, और अगर अरमान ख़त्म हो जाएं तो उस संस्था की इमारतें खंडरों में तब्दील हो जाती है. Means in English, that for building any institution, you need infrastructure. Of course, without infrastructure, you cannot do anything. But more than the infrastructure, you need the passion of the teachers, passion of the vice chancellor, passion of the whole, the whole ecosystem of the university should be working towards making it happen. Then only the institutions can be built up, and then only the national education policy can be implemented in letter and spirit. And again, I also remember a actual episode which happened. I'm just giving a background, because when we come to NEP, we are talking a lot about, there are various aspects. I don't want to go into the details of the aspects, but then the story is of more than around 100 years back, actual story. This was with Einstein, Albert Einstein. So in 1905, he gave a question paper to his students. And when the question paper was distributed to the students, the teaching assistant of Einstein, he saw the question paper and he came running to Einstein saying, "Sir, there is a mistake." He says, "What happened?" He says, "Sir, there is a terrible mistake." He says, "What is the mistake?" He says, "Sir, the same question paper you gave to the same set of students last year also." So Einstein smiled. He says, "It is not a mistake. It is deliberate, because the questions are the same, but the answers are different." Why? Because in 1904, Einstein published 4 papers. Those 4 papers, theory of relativity, E is equal to mc square, Brownian motion, like this. 4 papers he published, which is known as Annals of Physics, and which changed the very paradigm of physics education. So he wanted to see whether the students have studied those papers or not, whether they have understood or not, whether they are able to analyze and write the results, keeping in view the new paradigms which are happening in this 1 year. So the questions were the same, but the answers were different. Similarly, for the Indian higher education space, before the policy and after the policy. Questions are the same: what to teach, how to assess the students, but the answers are totally different. Answers are totally different. For example, when we say what to teach, we were till now having a curriculum which was sort of giving a theoretical knowledge to the students, but now we say that the students should be having the practical knowledge, employability has to be increased, outcome based education has to be given. Dr. Tiwari, I know that he was working on a committee which was working on outcome based education to decide what will be the outcome. So outcome based education was never thought of before the national education policy. I mean, it was talked about in many places, but as a policy it never came. So what to teach, how to teach. When you say how to teach, again, in most of the universities the lecture method is followed, but the policy is for using a lot of technology in teaching the students. The teachers have been requested to use teaching learning through technology. And I should also say thanks to COVID, because when COVID stuck and all the universities and colleges were closed, we were really worried what will happen to our higher education system. But the teachers rose to the occasion and they all started teaching online. So sometimes jokingly we say that the best teacher award for 2020 should go to COVID, because it accelerated the way the teachers were teaching, the way the students were learning. So therefore, how to teach again is a totally different paradigm. Now we are talking of a flipped classroom model in which the students will be not exactly studying in the class, they'll be getting the videos and audios and say text material at their homes. They will study at home, and in the class what will happen? Only discussions, rationalization, reasoning, problem solving, group discussions, so that the understanding is better. So more emphasis is on understanding. Similarly, when we are changing the what to teach, how to teach, and also how to assess and evaluate the students. So when we say that how to assess and evaluate the students, and we are right now depending upon the 3-hour examination which is taken at the end of the semester, and we ourselves have seen that how difficult it was to take that 3-hour examination at the end of the semester because of corona. Offline we could not afford for the safety of our students. Online we could not afford because there were so many technical issues. The digital divide was there. Whole of our, you know that India is a large and diverse country, so all our teachers are not equipped with that much of technology, and all our students are not equipped with the devices and the networking. So online was also difficult. So the national education policy itself says that the assessment and evaluation should not be held at the end of the semester or end of the year. It should be held throughout the year, and there are multiple ways in which you can assess. We need not take a 3-hour examination which basically checks the memorization skill of the student. We should be using multiple ways, whether it is uh, say projects or assignments or activities or group discussions or vivas. I mean, there are many ways in which you can assess the students. So the way we assess and evaluate the students is also going to change with the new education policy. But the moot point is, how will all this happen? Because our teachers, I told you that hats off to them. I salute the teachers because they rose to the occasion. They used technology in a big way during COVID. But if you want them to teach in a different manner, if you want them to assess the students in a different manner, if you want them to frame curriculum based on, say, outcome based approach, if you want them to follow a flipped classroom model, if you want them to, say, have e-content development techniques, means they should be able to develop quality content and also use it in the classroom, they need a lot of training. So that training is a component which is missing and which has to be sort of impressed upon by all the university leaders, that their teachers do need a training if they really want to follow the NEP, and if they want to follow the new models which are indicated in the NEP, including, say, internationalization of higher education. Because for the first time, the policy has laid so much of emphasis on internationalization of higher education that foreign university campuses, which we were thinking of having in India for a long time, it is going to see a reality very soon. And this budget speech you saw, and in the policy, it is indicated that the top 100 universities of the world can come and set up their campuses in India. Indian universities like Central University of Kerala, if they want, they can identify what are their core areas, and they can set up campuses in foreign countries to educate students not only of the foreign countries, but also our students who are residing in those countries. They are talking of having an international office in every university, because many a times the international students are there, but they are not able to take care of them in at one place. Means they have to run from pillar to post to sort of find solutions to many of the issues which they are facing. And most important, the credit transfer, the joint degrees, and the dual degrees, which can be undertaken along with the foreign countries. But again, for all this, we do need a lot of resources. We do need a lot of training. Therefore, training of teachers, I feel, is very, very important, because unless we do the capacity building of the teachers, we will not be able to implement the policy. Only infrastructure, only money will not work. We have to train our teachers. So my request to the Vice Chancellor and the other academic leaders who are here are that please arrange for the training of the faculty. Faculty development programs are very, very important. For example, even for a small book, for a small issue like open book examination, we very easily say that, okay, from next year we'll be having an open book examination to test the understanding of the students. But how to frame the question paper for open book examination is equally difficult. It's not the same paper which you frame when you test for closed books. The paper has to be totally different. So I feel that NEP can be implemented in letter and spirit only if that type of a passion and that type of a will is there on part of each and every faculty member and each and every leader of the university. So unless that is there, we cannot implement the national education policy. Recently, University Grants Commission has taken many steps to implement NEP, and I know that it will go a big way in implementing. But again, the onus lies on you. If you want to implement ABC, onus lies on the universities, that how they will start giving admission in addition to the full programs like BA, BCom, BSc, also to a course. Means within BA, if there are 16 papers, so these are 16 courses. So if you want to implement ABC, the admission should be given to programs, of course, but in addition to the programs, for different courses also, for which the supernumerary seats have to be created in every course. And you know that it will be very easy to find out who is the best teacher, because the teacher for whom there are maximum takers of that course will be the best teacher. So it is in the interest of the teachers to become best teacher, and so that their courses are offered by many students. So whether it is implementation of ABC, which I consider is the most innovative step in the national education policy, or internationalization of education, or teaching pedagogy, or assessment and evaluation of students, or outcome-based curriculum, all requires a lot of capacity building, both for the teachers and the students. And I'm sure the Central University of Kerala is already working towards that area. So thanks once again for inviting me here. Thank you very much, and looking forward to see you in person in future sometime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Now I invite Dr. Joseph Koipalli, convener of the program, for report presentation.
Respected Vice Chancellor, Professor Venkateswarlu, Lakshman Garu, Sri Indu Jodanji, respected faculty members, respected Vice Chancellors, Deans, we have had a conference of the last 2 days over the question of strategizing the implementation of NEP. We were focusing as a practical university, we were focusing on our university. We have been discussing this program for about, ever since NEP was announced. We knew that we had to implement it. I had two kind of beginnings for my report when I planned that I had to present a report. First was the story of a Russian who came to India. Russians in those days were non-believers. They came to India. When he returned, he became an absolute believer in God. So when they went back, he went back, people asked him, how come, is it India so spiritual or something like that? No. India, people are spiritual, but that is not how. Then what made you become very believer? There is no system, everything functions. It proves that there must be somebody upstairs, otherwise nothing can happen. So NEP, when it came to me as a big document in 462 pages, it looked to me too ambitious, and then one after another pieces keep coming on. NHQEF, skill, so many documents keep coming up. And as an old school academic, I used to read all these. That's the problem. I found many contradictions there. Then came the smaller document of NEP. We discussed about it. And then the Vice Chancellor came, he wanted it to get implemented. And he formed a task force. And every teacher in this university is responsible for making it happen. For the information of Lakshmanji, I will tell you, everybody here is extremely proud in making it happen. We are taking it as a passion because we don't have any other job other than this. We believe, as practicing academics, this is the best foot that we can put forward. And we want our university to be the best. We don't want it to be the second best. We have been trying from right the day one. When it started, we were the old people. We have been doing that, and now we got a new direction with the very no-nonsense, hard taskmaster Vice Chancellor. We are getting things done. So let me go into my report. NEP 220 rests on pedagogic, practical, and political factors. For the last 2 days, we have been deliberating on the strategy to find a way forward to implement the NEP 220 in higher educational institutions of the nation after adopting the policy. The Central University of Kerala has already adopted it, and many have not. Now we need to look a way forward because there are a lot of confusions, as shown by the interest of the Vice Chancellors who joined us and the apprehensions expressed by some of them in spite of the optimistic punchlines given by many. We as a nation of highly resourceful people believe that we can find solutions for the difficulties we encounter. We have been doing that. Together we will eventually succeed. What we need is minimum difficulties in implementing it. That is why we are undertaking these maximum efforts in understanding what it is and getting the feedback of other people, and we are strategizing how to implement it. Professor H. Venkateshwarlu organized this meeting after elaborate consultations, consensus among faculty members, elaborate preparations, and the department level syllabus restructuring. Academic and Executive Council have made their resolutions, and for the implementation, it requires more than consensus within the university and a national policy, as the future of the nation depends on it. The deliberations involved 13 vice chancellors of different central universities, 6 vice chancellors of state universities, several heads of national and state bodies, 13 deans, 27 heads of departments, and more than 120 faculty members who are sitting here. The conference broke down the difficult problem into manageable pieces and addressed the discrete units, such as the implementation in these different areas: research quality, Indian knowledge systems, multidisciplinarity, skill-oriented education, multiple entry, multiple exit, academic bank of credit, digitalization of higher education, and the institutional restructuring that is required. The policymakers are here. Both the executive heads of the universities are here. They have listed their concerns, and now it is time for our deliberations to form a strategy forward. I will list the concerns first. In the research quality, I'm not naming anybody because many people have said the same thing twice, so I'm not naming anybody. The question of national interest came first. And the second was the local area, the context in which the universities exist. Tapping the resources of the local areas and keeping the national interest in mind without wasting resource potential of the universities and nation's resources, we have to carry out the practical application-oriented research outputs. And the second was the need for regulations and mentoring the supervisors in order to promote better quality research. Some of the supervisors, they start doing research, as many have remarked. They just start doing research and they start supervising. Some of them succeed, some of them fail, and in the process, somebody in between, the student fails, and our resources also fail, which should not happen. And we need to cash in on the resources of the ICT revolutions and the incentive, and we also need to incentivize the good researchers. And we have to rope in the industry experts to help our research growth. One of the key things that I came across here in this in the presentation of the Vice Chancellor was that we need to have a zero tolerance for error in research, not in the methodology. In the outcome, there can be errors. That's not a problem. But in the methodology, there should not be any errors. It should be pakka. You have to use the best. We cannot use the second best. At the end of it, you may come out right, you may come out wrong. That's another matter. But then that, when published, others will also understand. We need to train the faculty members. Even Dr. Pankaj Mittal was speaking about that. Faculty development programs are to be strengthened in the departments. We need to train and orient research supervisors not to waste the national resources and become more useful. The second point was about the Indian knowledge systems. Professor Kapil Kapoor, my PhD guide, was focusing on the fact that there is no ancient India and modern India. India is India. It's a continuum of many thousands of years. We live with the same traditions. We are only rediscovering the lost heritage. And we have to make our nation proud of our native traditions. And teaching the mother tongue shortens the mental processing time and enhances the self-confidence and self-reliance of the people of India, which is very important, which Modi, in other words, calls Atmanirbhar, self-reliance. We have to be confident about ourselves. And the question of mother tongue, usage of mother tongue in education, it shortens the time, but how practical it is, that is something that we'll have to discuss. In a central university like this, when people of different nationalities come together and people from international students come to teach in mother tongue, it'll be difficult. So there's a practical solution out. We start with where we can start with. But it is definite that so long as we are going to teach in a foreign language, we are not going to achieve the goal. We will not become the best. We will always remain the second best. Today in the morning, what I did was I reread what Macaulay's Minutes was all about. After Kapilji's yesterday's presentation, he taught us that, but then the first thing that I did in the morning was I was rereading it. Multidisciplinary and skill-oriented education is the need of the hour, as many vice chancellors have put it. Somebody proposed a 40-20 model, but in this university, we are proposing a 40-20-20 model. That is 80 credits. 40 credits for the core courses, 40 credits for the core electives, and 20 credits for the optional course, interdepartmental electives. And then we also have the component of skill enhancing, community service, national service, and so on. There is another part to that. We need to focus on learning from everywhere, anytime, and replacing lectures with active learning by using the formative assessment and the digital skills of the students and also of the faculty members and also the people of the administration need to be enhanced. And one of the key points, I should speak about Gopalakrishna Joshi, who was speaking about that, Professor Gopalakrishna Joshi. Teachers need to identify the job roles that is possible. And that is one of the key points that our Vice Chancellor was also insisting, that all the teachers at the end of the program, after this program, we will be doing this. We need to identify the job roles available and the skill competencies available at the exit stage of our course. Whatever paper or course I teach, at the end of it, what is that the student can do with that? And we will develop the courses accordingly in order to make it skill-oriented, job-oriented, and placement-oriented. And about multiple entry and exit, there are more questions than solutions that we came. Yesterday, in the morning before this conference formally began, we had a talk with Sridharji, who was in part of this, and even he was saying this has to evolve. There are many problems. Universities, one thing that we have to do, universities have to shed our elitism. As an institution, if I am a A+ university or A++ university, which we intend to become, but then still we have to carry on the others along with us. Because nobody is an island here. We will not move alone. We need to carry the entire weight of India behind us. And we need to move in a spirit of collaboration and sharing of resources, as many Vice Chancellors have agreed and called for. And the multiple entry, multiple exit based program on the program level, institution level, and the level of accreditation are also important. One thing that we agreed is that all the higher education institutions need to work under one common platform to ensure a seamless movement across institutions through ABC digital ecosystem. Unless there is a centralized body regulating these, many Vice Chancellors have raised this concern because we don't have parity in the case of our syllabus formation, in the case of even about credits and the credit requirements, we don't have parity. So we need to have that at the national level in order to ensure seamless movement. Otherwise, as a question I asked to a panelist earlier, what will happen if I take 20%, 30% of credit? According to ABC regulations, we have 30% credit we can take from one institution, and 70% of credits I can take either online or from some other institution. And I can go to, say, for example, IIT Kanpur, and I can ask them to give me your MTech degree, which is not how it is going to function. We need to put those regulations very clearly. Some of them are saying about earlier there was this problem, the advantage of having only A+ universities will come into the picture, but now that is changed. So in that regard, we'll have to look at that. Also, we need to recognize the lifelong learning and recognition of prior learning. How to institutionalize the recognition of prior learning is still a problem. What are the possibilities? How to test that? These are to be institutionalized. And we need to recognize the interconnectedness of learning and preparing the students for higher education. Outcome-based education, practical issues in the context of Kerala also was raised up by the two Vice Chancellors of Kerala. Very serious questions they were raising. All the universities of Kerala are of the same campus size. I mean, apart from the affiliating colleges. And we have a public service commission, and so on, which regulate our students' movements and placements. So we need to implement certain regulations in those places. I was told that this is going on, the work is going on, but then we cannot play with the lives of the students. Once they graduate, they will be looking at the universities. For example, when we started the university, we started with a course called Comparative Literature, MA in English and Comparative Literature. After that, the students went to Kerala University. They said that, well, it is not acceptable. We don't have equivalents. We have to run around that. In a university, in a department where more than 30% of the students got NET or JRF, people say that our equivalence is doubted. But now it is done, but that is a process which put the students in difficulty. We don't want that to happen. And another Vice Chancellor was speaking about more serious problems like liberal multi-entry, multiple exit options caused severe challenges as there is no standardization among the courses. and instruction and the program structure of the different state, central, deemed, private, and specialized universities and institutions, these are to be accounted for. These are challenges that we have before us. We are conscious when we move in implementing NEP, we need to be conscious of these things also. The question of who awards degree, the question that I asked earlier, who awards degree for what purpose? When a student acquires credit from another university is something to be regulated. Institutional restructuring was one of the major issues that people were taking up. One of the speakers were speaking about the need for a higher funding. Certainly we need a higher funding. With the kind of funding that we have, we may not be able to, only then wishes were horses, beggars would have been riders. Our central universities, state universities need much better funding. With the large infrastructure implementation, we need to, if we want to put ABC, SWAYAM, ICT driven courses, well, we need to put certain things in place. Higher education institutions should break the barriers and come to work with society. This is one of the beautiful points that we came across. We have to, Dr. Arun Kumar was speaking how his paper motivated people to come here. We have been working on that. We have a good extension unit here. We have been working with people. Dr. Iftikhar used to take our students to the classes, to different departments. The social work department is doing wonderfully well. MPH is doing wonderfully well. We are doing that. Now we are extending that to every department. So the requirements for academic innovations, publications, funding, and technology opportunity, finding funding and technology opportunities, as the MG University Vice Chancellor was saying, are important for us. A need for technology-enabled solutions. As we move to digitization, technology-enabled solution is required. Collaboration with industries and institutions within and outside the country. This is somewhere most of the universities are lacking. And we in Kasaragod especially find a problem because this is a remote part of Kerala, and this is one of the God's forsaken places of the God's own land. And there we find it's extremely difficult to connect with the industries as some of the universities in the central locations are able to. So we need some kind of encouragement, a systematic. This is to be systematic. It is not like a one-time job. It should be a part of a system. Promoting program level and institutional level accreditation. Professor, the AU's Vice Chancellor was saying just now, Pankaj Mittalji was saying that we need the higher number of students if they take a course that is the best teacher. And there, in this university, we had teachers running into 160 people coming into one teacher's course, and we had to separate them into different halls in order to take a class or examination. We didn't have classrooms of that size. Now we have popular teachers, we have popular courses, good courses. And we started in 2011. It is not now that we started it. We have it, we had it. We have been doing it. We have people from different universities, people come from different universities across the world here, Harvard, Oxford, Kansas. We have people from different universities out here. It's not that it's a fresh university. We came here because we wanted to make sure that this is a good university. It's not that we accidentally ended up here. We need to promote, to make assessment framework to acknowledge prior learning. This is one of the problems that we are going to face. And I was speaking about ICT, sorry. So ICT paradigm need to be redefining modern educational institutions, and the universities who can offer it is only about 50, because the condition is that about 3.26 in NAC can score it, or above 100 institutions. Out of that, only 50 institutions are offering it. That means about 1,000 universities are outside this ambit. We need to include, when we speak about a policy, we need to, we are not going for departmental accreditation. We are not going for school-wise accreditation. We are only going for university accreditation. So if faculty members are good, if departments are good, accreditation should do better. I'm just coming to the end of it. The bewildering possibilities of academics include generation of assignment thesis that Dr. Ravi Shankar was speaking about, that we need to be alive to that possibility. Just to conclude, Central University of Kerala has a strong group of faculty members who are good at research and exposure. It's also strong in research, publication, and national commitment. It has initiated multidisciplinary electives, and now it's going to multidisciplinary programs. It has adopted NEP framework and is redrafting the regulations in terms of the national NSQEF. So the problems are there. We are also treading cautious lines. It's not that we are jumping into it. We know there are problems and we are alive to the problems, and together the Central University of Kerala will find solutions and come out successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Professor H. Venkateswarlu, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, to felicitate Dr. N.C. Induchudan, President, Vidyabhyasa Vikasa Kendram, and also to Sri Lakshman, Akhila Bharatiya Rashtriya Shaikshik Mahasangh. I now invite Dr. Anbaragi, Assistant Professor in the Department of Environmental Sciences, to formally give the vote of thanks.
Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, and all the dignitaries present online, and all the CUK fraternities. It is my privilege and honor to propose the vote of thanks. At the foremost, I would like to thank Honorable Union Minister of Education, Dr. Subhash Sarkar, for inaugurating the two-day roundtable conference on strategizing NEP 2020 implementation, the way forward. I would also like to thank sincerely Dr. Pankaj Mittal for the valedictory address. We would like to express our sincere thanks to Siksha Sanskriti Utanyas for being a part of this wonderful event. CUK is very much grateful to all the vice chancellors and resource persons. In spite of their busy schedule, they are here in person, and all those vice chancellors who joined us online. CUK expresses our sincere thanks to each one of them. And our sincere thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, the man, the great person behind the initiation of this wonderful event. A sincere thanks to our Registrar, Professor Dr. Santosh Kumar, for being a pillar of support for all the academic activities. Our heartfelt thanks to Professor Amrut G. Kumar and Dr. Joseph Koipali, sir, for convening and coordinating the entire event. Our sincere thanks to all the deans of the schools, various schools, and heads of the various departments. Our heartfelt thanks to each and every faculty of Central University of Kerala who were working day and night to make this event a grand success. A special thanks to the guest house director, Dr. Jermina, and her team for the warm hospitality. Our sincere thanks to the IT team for the smooth running of the entire event. A sincere thanks to Dr. Diago and the entire team for the wonderful brochure, flyer, and banners. Our sincere thanks to Dr. Gurushankara and the whole team for the refreshments, and Dr. Prasad and the team for the memorable memento. Our sincere thanks to media and our PRO for disseminating the deliberations of the whole event. Our thanks to NSS coordinator, Dr. Ranjit Kumawat, and our campus development officer, Dr. Tony, and his team for the wonderful organization and arrangements done in the whole campus. Sincere thanks to all the rapporteurs for the fullest cooperation in summarizing the whole deliberations. Our sincere thanks to the finance section on the academics as well. And our sincere thanks to the personal secretary, special secretary, and the entire office of the Vice Chancellor. Special thanks to Professor Mohan and the team for meticulous planning of the entire travel plan. Sincere thanks to the logistic team for providing safe, comfortable, and travel support to the entire delegates. Our thanks also goes to our medical team for the preparedness. Our sincere thanks to our beloved student volunteers. Once again, a sincere thanks goes to our housekeeping staffs of CUK, security officer and the whole team for the fullest support. So once again, I would like to thank each and everyone who were behind this great event. Yeah. Conferences and all the events were done with a great leadership. Once again, thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor. Let us all work together, learn together, grow together, together to win. Dear delegates, soon we will all meet once again in person. Happy and safe journey from CUK. Thank you all.
I now request all to rise for the national anthem.